I'm Kelly Stanton-Nutt. I am the art teacher here at St. Dominic School, and I will be talking to you today about the snowplow project that we do in conjunction with the Northfield City Street and Park Department. So any questions that you have, go ahead and ask, and I can tell you what you want to know.
How did this get started?
How did it get started? I actually was approached by TJ Heinersee from the Streets Department. He had sent out an email a year and a half ago and said that he had seen an article in a magazine for street departments that Green Bay, Wisconsin had done this project. And he forwarded the article to me, and I saw it and I thought, oh, this looks like a great opportunity to get kids working together in large group situations to create art, but not having to find that mural space and not having to worry about the importance of the work in the long term, like the big picture of it, you know, but giving the kids the experience of doing mural work. And so he approached me in the spring, and I said, you know, this might not be the right time, but can we do this right away in the fall? And sure enough, that next fall he came by with 4 plow heads, and I wasn't sure if I could get 4 done. We had 4 done in the first 2 weeks. They had half it done the first week. The kids were clamoring for more, so TJ brought in 4 more plows. We did 8 of them last year. And last year I had the kids design their own plow ideas. Like, what would we do if we wanted to decorate plows? And one of the best success stories, the one that everybody really oohed and ah over, was one that was Vincent van Gogh's Starry Night. But instead of the village being in the foreground, it was the building behind us, the Rosary School of St. Dominic School, the original building, painted in the lower corner of it. And that one got a lot of talk, and so that kind of brought about the idea for the moving museum. And so this year we had kids go through all of my art books and find their favorite pieces. They had to recreate 3 pieces by the same artist or by different artists, and then as a class they voted for their 3 favorite works. And that's what got applied to the plows. So I can tell you more about the plows as we walk around, or more about the process, but kind of let me know what you want to do next.
Yeah, let's look at the plows, and if you want to explain.
Sure. So one of the biggest challenges in designing the plows is that the shape of the plow changes depending on the blade. So we have something like this where it's more of a pure rectangle, just a little bit cut off. So that was pretty easy. I told the kids to look for elongated images that we could apply. And so this kind of translated well. But then plows might be curved a bit more, and that creates that challenge of how is it being viewed and what do we put on it. So this one has a slight curve, but then we get huge curves. This is the Keith Haring piece. That was a George O'Keeffe. This one is, of course, a Monet. It's his bridge. What we find is even though it's parked here and the curve is coming over a bit, when they go on the plows and they're driving down the street, these plows curve, so they can't skip a spot when they're painting. They have to paint every bit of it. So a lot of their work is done upside down. They learn to respect the work of Michelangelo when he's doing the Sistine Chapel, because they're getting the paint dripping on their faces and in their hair, but they're good sports about all of it. And some of the plows are hooked together. And we had that question of, do we have to do a related artist? And we decided that no, we could share more art. So on this one, it happens to be the same class working on it. It's grade 8. They really liked Monet's lilies, and they didn't want to skip it, but they wanted to do something more modern. And so they were obsessed with Andy Warhol's soup cans. And so we did that whole idea of the repetition. And so this one is, of course, in progress. These 2 are, of course, in progress. They'll be coming out in about 15 minutes to work on them. Come back over here. These are the plows that have the biggest challenge, because not only do they have the curve, they also have the rubber flap. So we have to kind of get underneath these. This is a Jasper Johns piece, another piece of modern art. That's created by a 4th grade student. She really kind of liked just the energy that was happening by that abstract design. Each grade, by the way, got sort of one of each shape of plow so that they could experience the challenge with each one. Cool. Of course, we have Edward Monk's The Stream. They decided that was a really great plow image. And we really talked about composition on this one. When they had to think about that angle of the plow, what would be showing at all times? How do we change throughout? If you see an actual painting of the screen, you're going to realize this is reversed. They had to reverse it, otherwise he would have been hidden down in the corner. And so they reversed the painting. And so each time they were looking at it for reference, they had to make everything backwards in their mind. And I think they've done a pretty good job on that. They wanted to appeal to sort of the interest and understanding of art and sort of how people see art. And so this one, the Andy Warhol piece, is a piece of pop art where he was emulating the importance of comic books, and the kids love that idea of bringing Superman in. Something everyone's going to recognize. Superman on a snowplow. Come on, how powerful. And so they like that idea that people are going to recognize the character, even if they're not familiar with some of the other artists, that they're recognizing something about what's happening on the plow. We went to children's books. We have a children's illustrator here, Eric Carl's Very Hungry Caterpillar. We know that we've had a lot of response from our preschool families coming and saying, oh, I love that plow. We all know that story. My kid's excited. And we have a Roy Lichtenstein here, another piece of pop art. It's, of course, in progress. But that idea of putting in all that little dot work and how did he create his paintings that were large scale, what is that process? What does it take? We're trying to figure out how to blend our colors, so they're in the process there of trying to figure out how do you make that bluish purple color happening in a Monet painting. And so they've got this one partially done. They're trying to figure out how do you create that light and shadow. You can see it's starting to happen in the tree, but they're really trying to figure out how do I get that stroke long enough and still get the branches coming down from the willow. So there's some challenges that come in. Even when it's a simpler, flatter plow, it's the challenge of how do we work together and make these come together and look like the masterpiece that it's emulating. And so we're kind of hoping to kind of educate or reaffirm people's knowledge of art is in as simple as a snowstorm, something as simple as a snowstorm. We had a couple more here. We don't normally paint the rubber mat, but I had my son helping me prime one day, and the roller accidentally hit the front of the rubber. But it works out really well for this one because it has the biggest arc of all of them and the longest rubber mat. This is actually an artist, and I can't think of his name off the top of my head, I'm sorry, but he paints national parks, and this is an image he had from Pikes Peak. It's based off of a painting that a family that goes to our school had purchased during their visits to Pikes Peak this summer. And so they brought it in. She said, can we use this? I said, yeah, I love the idea of representing an artist that isn't necessarily dead or from 100 years ago. So this one is cool because it's a double image. They wanted to represent the image no matter how you saw the plow. So we have this funicular going up, and we also have it underneath with more of the mountain range showing up. Kids literally have to crawl under and in to work each day, so they're starting to get the mountain built into this. We're starting to get the train tracks built in. So you're really seeing it in progress here. And then our final piece is the famous wave painting, this Japanese wave painting, and I believe the artist name is Hokusai. Of course, we're going to pick this one out, and you can see this one's in progress. You can see sort of a finished edge and how the colors are being blended and outlined, and how it starts out by building up the layers. So our students are not just learning how to work cooperatively together, but how to build it up in layers to create dimension and a more dynamic image. But the best part about this is next year, they all get painted over, and it's a whole new idea, and there'll be something new for the whole community to see. So this could go on forever.